This is a spoiler warning. In this show, we'll be discussing The Witch's Familiar. If you've not yet seen episode 2 of series 9, what are you waiting for? Go have a watch. What? I thought I'd wear a skirt today. Hello, I'm Christel Dee.
And I'm Luke Spillane.
Today we're joined by comedian and Doctor Who fan Bec Hill and Doctor Who magazine editor Tom Spilsbury. Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello. So the end of The Magician's Apprentice got pretty bleak. Clara and Missy were dead, TARDIS was gone, Davros had basically won, the Doctor was ready to kill Bubby Davros. How satisfying was The Witch's Familiar as a conclusion?
Well, I think this was the meat of the story, really, the second part, because I think there was a lot of kind of stuff in the first part, sort of before we got to Davros and the story could sort of really get underway, and this was the real heart of it. So I think the whole thing with the scenes between Davros and the Doctor, that's kind of what those characters have always been when they've been in a room together, hasn't it? About if we put aside our differences and just talk as men of science and all of that. So I think there was a lot of that in The Witch's Familiar, which was really well done and a lot of fun, I thought.
I had some lovely moments, but it made me angry. I did not. What? He's like, oh, where'd I get this cup of tea? Oh, I'm the Doctor, that's the answer. No.
So, favourite bits, what were your most enjoyable moments?
Well, I have to say my favourite line is Davros's rather droll bit. It's so difficult to procure the only other chair on Skaro, which is a funny line, of course, because obviously the Daleks have no use for that. It's actually quite dark though when you think about it, because of course Skaro at one point was populated with all the files and the Carlers who we briefly see during the war scenes at the start, and it's the idea actually they've all been wiped out. So it's, for what's quite a funny line, it's kind of a reminder that the Daleks have actually just exterminated everybody else on that planet. So it kind of has that sort of double, meaning to it. But I thought it was a very funny line.
Obviously, that chair we were discussing, the chair's only there for colony staff to sit and watch reruns with Davros.
Yeah, watching
Genesis playing out in the background.
But there was a point, wasn't there, obviously at the end of Genesis of the Daleks, where we see that the Daleks' creation, and of course there's the whole of the Khaled city there, and they get entombed at the end of the story. So I just like the idea that while they're entombed, they just go around destroying all the furniture.
Yeah.
So we don't need that.
Don't need this, don't need that. Yeah.
My favourite line was, your sewers are revolting. Which, when he said that, I just went, oh, that's what this entire two-parter was written for. Like someone has come up with that line first and gone, how can we build the beginning of a season from this joke? I've done that. Like, I've written a punchline and then written a good 10 minutes of setup in order to get to a terrible pun. And when I saw that, I just went, oh, okay. Yep, it all makes sense now. That's how it's been written. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know about a favourite line, but Doctor and Davros.
Yeah.
That story, like any Davros story, it's always comes down to Doctor Davros. Just him opening his eyes.
Yeah.
That was just like, if anything, not a favourite line, a favourite moment was Davros actually opening his eyes, because not knowing that was coming, I would oh, what? It again changed a bit of history, but was actually a beautiful moment. It was just so good, and what that story was all about, I think.
So let's just talk about Missy and Clara. Obviously, they aren't dead, that's happened quite a lot in Doctor Who. Stephen Moffat especially writes characters that he kills characters and they come back. We've had some tweets. Axel Prince says, "Stop making your plot twist be, is he/she really dead? We all know they're not, so please stop." And Mary Ann Morgan says, "Not dead. Where have I heard that before?" What do you guys think? Because I think when Clara and Missy died, I didn't buy it.
I know a lot of people have said stuff about, about Missy dying and it wasn't explained, but this was the beautiful moment where we got actually that explanation for last year's Missy dying and coming back, and we got this whole amazing flashback sequence that was of the Doctor, of whichever face he was wearing, of this whole explanation of how she'd done it.
Sometimes you're supposed to believe that they might really be dead, and sometimes I think we all know they're not, and I think that's this one was probably in the second category, that it's not so much, we know something's happened, but it's just a question of how they've dodged it. Whereas I think sometimes, there have been occasions where you really might think that could be it. I remember Rose gets vaporised at the end of Bad Wolf, and it's right near the end of the season, and it's all a bit new still, and you're not quite sure. And I think a lot of people really did believe it then. So it's a sort of slightly different kind of feel to it, I reckon.
I liked how it was explained as well. I thought that was great. Oh, but just imagine though, if they were just gone forever, that was it. Like first episode, done. Get rid of the two massive characters.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty ruthless. So with Clara and Missy back, got this double team going on, and Missy quite often cuts quite a lot of tension, brings a lot of comedy to it, quite often at Clara's expense as well. But if we take a step back, how much does Missy actually do? Paul C. McGeady says, I felt over 2 episodes Missy's part in it was pointless and did nothing to advance the story.
Well, I think probably maybe people are expecting her to be the main villain behind it, and of course she's not in this story, but what she does do is she essentially takes the Doctor role because, while the Doctor himself is sitting in a room with Davros discussing what they're talking about, she can basically do all of the stuff with Clara that otherwise would be what the Doctor's doing. So I don't think it's true to say she doesn't do anything. I mean, all of that stuff about explaining how the Daleks reload by saying exterminate, and that aggression fires the gun and all of that. I think you're never quite sure whether she's making it up or whether that's the truth. But then that's the same with the Doctor a lot of the time, isn't it? That he'll give you the explanations, but you're always a bit unsure as to whether it's actually the truth or not.
I think, she's very much the character you have fun with, like especially parallel, like the Doctor and Davros. Where that goes is so dark. The whole extermination of Davros as a young boy and that idea. But then you've got Missy and Clara, and Missy is this terrible, the Master has always been this terrible villain, but also the best friend of the Doctor, really, when it comes down to it. And being able to have fun with her and Clara whilst, you've got this sort of, these two journeys happening on Skaro. I thought that was a good balance. So I think she's there for a reason, I felt.
Now the Master is more mischievous.
Yes, exactly.
She really is, honestly, she really is. So the Doctor, he jumps in Davros' chair. A couple of people have said, here we go, Emma Victoria Ellick says, the Doctor swivelling round in Davros' chair, clad with a Dalek gun, is one of the best visuals to have ever happened on TV, ever. And Toby says there needs to be a Doctor in Davros' chair figure. So are we seeing a more badass Doctor now?
I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she felt that it wasn't as big a moment on screen in terms of, like, the door opens and he comes out and it's quite a bit of fun. But actually, the cliffhanger to episode 1 is the Doctor is in such a bad place. Like, he's begging Davros. And so, yes, there is this very dark moment where, like, the Doctor has dragged Davros out of his chair, out of the chair that keeps him alive, and just left him to die.
And also, Davros doesn't have legs, so the Doctor's had to go to quite some effort to build enough room for him. Like, there is a whole sequence missing there.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's like digging out.
It's these moments we don't see, isn't it? There's
exactly.
quite a few times where you sort of think, well, how did that actually work in when we weren't looking?
The moment that we didn't see there is such like a, did that just happen? I really liked how that is played on like a fun, silly, but the darkness behind it is so...
We learn some new stuff about Daleks. We learn that emotion fires the gun. And we also learn that Daleks decay and keep living. What did you think about that?
Well, they've been bred, haven't they, for a very specific purpose. So they're in that sense, it has free will, but it still has its natural instinct, and that's ramped right up to 1,000. It's something they clearly can't really sort of fight against, but they don't want to either. I've always sort of thought they're kind of the opposite of the Cybermen in that sense.
But I guess the question is, if it's been bred out of them, why would the casing, why would that need to translate positive words into negative words? Like, surely it would just act as a normal translator. The fact that it has the ability to change anything that sounds positive or nice or emotional into something negative suggests that maybe there was a need for that at some stage, which is a bit heartbreaking.
Again, it's another moment where I think that revealing that in this story is another moment where you're just highlighting again, what Davros has done off screen. Another off screen moment where, you know, maybe at the beginning when Davros saved all these Khaleds and created these Dalek casings for them, maybe some of them really didn't want it to happen and they were all, you know, but by doing that, by, you know, censoring their language and channeling it into something else, channeling it into that anger, that's another thing that Davros has done off screen that's actually really horrible.
So this episode works quite hard to build a relationship, build on the relationship that Davros and the Doctor has. Is it a bit of a shame that he's been tricking the Doctor all along? So Devi6913 says, I started warming up to the two notorious villains, but by the end of the episode, I felt so much more disdain than I'd started. What do you guys think? I mean, eventually when Davros does seemingly sort of turn evil again, does that undermine all those lovely scenes that we had between them?
I think it works in the way that we feel the emotion that almost the Doctor should. You feel tricked. You feel. I was heartbroken. I was like, my God, all those moments with Davros were just some of the best Davros Doctor scenes ever, I thought. And seeing Davros open up for the first time so much, and you're on his side, and then he tricks you. And you are just like, he is just evil. He's just so evil. Yeah. So I think that worked. I don't think it devalued it or anything. It worked perfectly.
Well, there's that lovely moment, isn't it, where he says you're a terrible doctor or something, and they laugh.
Yeah.
And you're like, he's laughing. He's dying and he's laughing. Yeah. Oh. But I think, it's as you said, like, it's nice as the audience to see it through the eyes that you want the Doctor to be tricked every time. Like, if they turn out to be evil, I don't want the Doctor being all like, I know you're evil, and I don't think you're capable of change. Like, that's what makes the Doctor awesome, is that he's so filled with compassion.
I wasn't fooled.
Now, Bec, you're a more of a casual viewer. Was the Davros Doctor story interesting to you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And it made me, because I end up sort of watching a massive block, so I sort of like splurge on episodes, and then I might miss it for a while and then come back to it and then go back to it. I mean, I was brought up with my mum showing me An Unearthly Child and stuff like that. So I'm, there's still a connection with it, but what it made me do was go, like, I instantly, when this season started, went back and started wikiing Davros and Daleks and stuff, because I was like, okay, when did I first see, and it brought back all these memories of when I first got into it, and I was like, so yeah, it did. It was very exciting.
So Davros interrogates the Doctor about his origin, asks him why he leaves Gallifrey. Is sort of delving into the Doctor's past again, demystifying the Doctor a little bit, do you think?
Well, it's asking the question, isn't it? I mean, it's not necessarily answering it. I mean, I think we might sometimes uncover details, but maybe we'll raise more questions than they actually they answer. Something about a hybrid, wasn't there? Something about that, the coming of the hybrid, and that he ran from that. So I mean, it's quite mysterious as to what that actually might mean.
Well, so when it's a Time Lord, can you really dig into their past?
I like snippets of little bits, and it is nice to occasionally ask that question again. Doctor Who, to keep the audience, whether it's new, whether it's old, to keep everyone going, who is he? But not actually answer.
I hope we never find out. I hope that question should never be answered. I think we should maybe tease now and again, but never ever answer the question. That'll be the end of Doctor Who. So we asked you guys on Twitter, what did you think about the Doctor being able to summon regeneration energy at will? Now, of course, we did forget that he does do it in The Angels Take Manhattan. Sorry, we have seen it, but we forgot. But we are reminded again that he can actually do that now. Do you think that it's sort of been a little bit devalued by being used quite a bit? I've got a tweet in, actually. Mike S says, can we stop using the regeneration energy as a thing that you can give whenever you want? Is this a bit of a convenience? Is this sort of being used as a bit of a superpower?
It is a big moment. I think if it's not used all the time, you don't want him to go around and be like, oh, somebody's died. Somebody, if he was using it on everyone, it would be probably devaluing it a little bit. But it is a big part of Doctor Who.
This is the thing with regeneration in the first place, is that they only had that idea of it being limited to 12 times by the time we got to Tom Baker, precisely because it was already a bit of a magic device. You need to inject some sort of sense of jeopardy into it. So, okay, he can regenerate, but it's not limitless, So I think when they wrote that into, I think, The Deadly Assassin was the first time that was mentioned. I think it was partly to address these kind of questions. You know, we can't just have something which is always a magic solution.
So a little bit of controversy over the Sonic sunglasses. Ty says, love that the Doctor lost a screwdriver. It was too Matt Smith's. Sunglasses suit Capaldi much better. But Devi6913 says, as cool as the shades are, I hope it's not the end of Sonic screwdrivers. They've been around since 1968. So along with living sewers, slaved vortex manipulators, are these like new ideas or are they conveniences, do you think?
They are conveniences, of course. I mean, the sonic screwdriver is, as you say there, has been around since 1968 and has been written out of the series before, of course. I think at least once before. So I would be surprised that if it doesn't turn up again at some point. I think the sonic sunglasses is a bit of fun, isn't it? You know, there's no reason within the show that you couldn't have the same technology that's in the screwdriver in some sunglasses instead. Yeah. It's just the Doctor showing off, basically. So I think that's fine.
I thought it was very current, you know, the Doctor's own Google Glass. You know, he's like, I'm looking forward to him going up to locks and pressing it and doing that, whether he has to get that close. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. So I love them. I think they're great because they suit Capaldi.
Yeah.
If it is going to be his thing, if that's it now, if they're sonic sunglasses forever, I embrace it. But yes, it is a convenience in the story, but I kind of like that because immediately I went back and rewatched it, and there's that beautiful moment where he puts the sunglasses on with Davros, and you're like, oh, he now knows they're sonic sunglasses. That's almost like his way out of there already. Like he's thinking these are ways out of here, and he's happy to put his shades back on. I like it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, is it cynical that my first thought was, cha-ching, merchandise? Like that was the first thing as soon as he put them. Well, no, it was after I realised that was why he was so precious about them over his confession dial. Is that what it's called?
His favourite pair.
Yes, when you go, I hope you haven't scratched it, and you go, hey, comic reversal, and then you go, oh no, he was actually.
Yeah, it's funny actually because like the beautiful thing with Doctor Who often is that although you say like merchandise, it's very much like as a kid, phone boxes all of a sudden were the TARDISes that you played in, and like Capaldi when he came in, he did that top button up because like, kids in the playground can just do that and be the Doctor. And anyone who's got a pair of sunglasses, I did it yesterday. It was sunny and I had sunglasses on and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm the Doctor.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't forget to let us know what you thought of The Witch is Familiar in the comments below and tweet us about the next episode at DW The Fan Show.
Ah yes, Under the Lake. We'll leave you with an intro to this spooky episode by Toby Whithouse. Bye.
We're in the year 2150.
One of the most exciting things about this story is that it's set in an underwater base.
We meet an abandoned crew who are on a mission and are trapped down there.
However, the adventure that we have and the evil that we confront is nothing to do with being underwater.
One of the things we very rarely do in Doctor Who is just straightforward ghosts.
We're not confronted by fish people, much as I'd love to be confronted by fish people or the macro terror of anything like that.
Just ghosts, that was the idea. What if Doctor Who did ghosts? So it's a base under siege, but it's under siege from ghosts. A very scary one.
It is a hugely imaginative and clever idea that will eventually take us into the past.